as tragic as it is and difficult to digest, you're talking about 500,000 to 1 million people that were kind of trading on a platform that this affects. And again, the community knows these people and we meet them at conferences and that kind of thing. But if you want to zoom out and go to 30,000 feet, you're saying there's a lot of other things going on in this space.
Well, you know what's fascinating? I mean, just now as I'm attending Token 2049, while obviously there's a lot of shock and, debate and discussion, the mood isn't really like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? This is the end of the world. I mean, people taking photos of, alpacas basically running around the conference, excited about opportunities, pitching still. And, maybe this is certainly not the best time to be trying to pitch to raise money because maybe there's some sensitivities. But the thing is, there's still an energy, right? People are still hopeful. And that was very different from 4 years ago. So it's not nearly as bad as I think people think it is, but it certainly has a macro effect that we have to see how it shakes out in the next week or two. But the energy is there. And I would say the same thing, when I went to Korea Blockchain Week, which was, I think it was maybe a month or two after what happened with Terra, and Terra basically being very sort of strong in Korea at the time. Obviously, many people in Korea were affected. The general commentary I got from a lot of people was, don't bother going to Korea. Everyone's against it. It's bad and so on. And certainly many people suffered and that's really bad. But at the conference, the energy was electric. Everyone was like, yeah, that's bad. That's really bad. But we're here to build. We're excited. Many young people understand that was, where the future was going. This was the future they wanted to build. The true builders were emerging. So, I would say that it's a true test of strength that no matter how hard you shake sort of the tree, it's still standing there.
Yeah, and I felt that energy yesterday as well. I mean, obviously people were talking about it, but, everybody was still buzzing and talking and moving. And, I get a feeling of crowds, I'm sure you do as well. And there wasn't this like ghost-faced, pale, yes, what are we going to do now thing. It was just everybody was getting on with it. And it was like, yeah, that kind of sucks. And we didn't see this happening. And, but, everybody's building.
Yes.
And continue to move on. That's a testament to the space.
Yes, exactly.
To finish up with the year in review, you mentioned Terra Luna. I guess we saw Celsius failing in Voyager. Like, what are some of the benchmarks to review them now? What your thoughts were on them? And then I'd love to talk about bigger picture.
Well, I mean, so first of all, I think when you look at the financial sector, right, when you think about what happened basically with those sort of financial service providers, they definitely suffered. And I think there will be probably a little bit more pain to come from them because there is going to be a contagion because they typically do business with each other, right? It's a sort of a network effect of a different kind. But the other stat we should basically look at for this year is, what went into Web3 investments. Billions of dollars just in Web3 gaming investments in these last 3 quarters, over $3 billion. And the entire space itself, I think, was, maybe even double that in the area of Web3. And we're not talking about just the first half year. We're talking about even just the last quarter. I think it was just $1.8 billion invested in the space. Now, obviously, it's not, it maybe wasn't how it was, at the end of last year, but that's a pretty healthy investment figure, right? So that's one of the sort of, I would say, look at the optimism that we see with the investment community as well as the community at large. Take a look at, for instance, what happened when NFTs were dropped to the Reddit community and what that did for interested people in the adoption. This is the year in which ApeCoin, for instance, launched as well, which was, and many of sort of really fascinating sort of blockchain games came out. So that's exciting. And then on the policy side as well, places like Hong Kong, which always was viewed in the past as, is it kind of like a policy like China? Are they anti-crypto? Has come up with a sort of virtual asset regime, embracing basically digital assets, talking about the fact that, retail should be able to trade crypto, for instance, right? I mean, that's a big, big change, right? And then more importantly, when I was having dinner at the end of the sort of session with the sort of the Secretary for Financial Services, our minister in Hong Kong, Secretary of Financial Services in the Treasury, he showed up in a punk outfit. So of course I had to match it with my Bored Ape outfit, both from Vivian Tam, who is a Hong Kong fashion designer making NFT-based fashion, right? But she's a global fashion icon, right? So she showed that in, for instance, New York Fashion Week. So it's almost like you have 2 parallel worlds, right? Where you have one area where the world of sort of, let's call it, metaverse, blockchain, Web3 culture, despite everything, is continuing to rock, is continuing to go really sort of, full on. And yes, the markets are sort of, volatile, but, they're soldiering on and they're super excited about it. And then, of course, you have a little bit on the sort of, let's say, pure financial side, maybe some people who are, of course, concerned. But But one thing it definitely proves once more is actually, the decentralized platforms are fine. It's the centralized platforms that failed. The centralized platforms need to basically be watched over differently, clearly, as we have seen, because we can't see what's going on. Whereas the decentralized ones are transparent, they're open, you see everything, and therefore you can have more trust in those systems. So I think there is a silver lining around people understanding self-custody much more, around people understanding the value, or at least managing their risk differently, and appreciating actually what the value of true decentralization really is.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.